18 dark secrets Princess Diana knew about the royal family that are still hidden today. Imagine being at the heart of one of the most powerful families in the world and discovering a truth so shocking, so sinister, that it could shake the entire institution to its core. Princess Diana wasn't just any royal. She was the ultimate insider. But she discovered something so dark, so dangerous, it made her fear for her life. What secret was so terrifying that it shook Princess Diana to her very core? What did she know that made the royal family desperate to silence her? What did Princess Diana know that made her such a threat to the crown? Why did her every move seem to be shadowed by watchful eyes? And why, even decades after her untimely death, is this secret still kept from the public? Was it simply about power, or was it something darker? Something capable of destroying the carefully maintained fairy tale of the royal family? Stay with us as we unveil the shocking truth Princess Diana uncovered, a truth that the palace desperately wants to keep buried. Number 1. Affairs and scandals. The royal family is no stranger to affairs and scandals, some of which have shaken the monarchy to its core. While many are aware of King Charles' infamous affair with Camilla Parker Bowles during his marriage to Princess Diana, this wasn't an isolated incident. Affairs seemed almost like a recurring theme within the royal corridors. Generations of royals have been involved in extramarital relationships that have fueled speculation and scandal for decades. It's not just about broken hearts. These affairs expose the dysfunction beneath the polished veneer. They reveal that royal marriages are often more about duty, political convenience, or maintaining appearances rather than genuine love. This tradition of infidelity paints a picture of strained, unhappy relationships, where personal happiness is sacrificed at the altar of royal expectations. It's a side of the royal family that's rarely acknowledged publicly, but it's always lurking beneath the surface, creating tension and complicating their public persona of family unity. Number 2. Media manipulation. When it comes to controlling the narrative, the royal family is exceptionally adept. Behind the elegant smiles and charitable engagements lies a well-oiled machine of media manipulation. The family's long used strategic relationships with the British press to shape their public image, feeding favorable stories to the tabloids while shielding their most damaging secrets. This isn't just speculation. Princess Diana herself openly spoke about how the press was used to either elevate or demonize members of the family, depending on the palace's agenda. Leaks are not uncommon, and the media has often been used as a tool to sway public opinion, distract from controversies, or even turn the spotlight away from more unsavory royal behavior. For instance, when major controversies threaten to tarnish the royal image, there's often a sudden shift in the press narrative, focusing instead on a different, often trivial story. This level of media control raises questions about the true nature of the information we get about the monarchy. How much is genuine, and how much is carefully curated to protect the institution? Number 3. Royal finances. The royal family's wealth is often a subject of fascination, but the truth behind their finances is far murkier than it appears. There are countless rumors about secret bank accounts, shady investments, and the use of public funds that aren't exactly accounted for. While the sovereign grant funded by taxpayers covers the family's official expenses, it's only the tip of the iceberg. The true extent of the royal wealth is hidden across a network of private estates, trusts, and international investments. What makes this even more controversial is the secrecy surrounding it. Very little is made transparent to the public, raising serious ethical questions. How much of this wealth has been accumulated through the centuries at the expense of the general population? And how much is still being channeled away in ways that most British citizens have no clue about? The lack of accountability creates an environment ripe for misuse, where the elite remain insulated from the financial scrutiny faced by everyday people. It's a reminder that while the royal family may be the face of British tradition, they're also experts in protecting their wealth and interests. Number 4. Political interference. The British monarchy is supposed to remain politically neutral, but the reality is far more complex. Over the years, there have been numerous allegations of the royal family's involvement in political affairs, often behind closed doors. King Charles, in particular, has faced criticism for his so-called Black Spider memos, a series of letters to government ministers where he expressed his views on a range of political issues. These interventions blur the lines between a ceremonial role and actual political influence, raising concerns about the monarchy overstepping its bounds. The royal family holds significant sway, not because of any formal power, but because of their status and influence. This allows them to have informal yet impactful conversations that can sway decisions at the highest level of government. It's an open secret that their political connections are used to protect their interests, ensuring that policies affecting royal estates or wealth are handled in a manner beneficial to them. This hidden influence challenges the idea of a purely symbolic monarchy and brings up questions about democracy and transparency in the UK. Number 5. Mystery surrounding deaths. The royal family's faced its share of tragedies, but not all of them are as straightforward as they might seem. Princess Diana's untimely death is perhaps the most infamous example, an event surrounded by endless conspiracy theories and unanswered questions. Princess Diana herself feared she would be targeted, and her predictions about being silenced in a car accident have led many to suspect foul play. But it's not just Princess Diana. Other members of the extended royal circle have died under peculiar circumstances, with little information made public, feeding a sense of mystery. These deaths are often brushed off as unfortunate accidents, but the secrecy and lack of thorough explanations only fuel suspicion. The British public has always been kept at a distance when it came to the inner workings of the palace, and the sudden deaths of key figures have often been shrouded in vagueness. Whether these theories hold any truth or not, the lack of transparency invites speculation and mistrust, contributing to the darker, secretive image of the monarchy. Number 6. Cold family dynamics. From the outside, the royal family may seem picture perfect, but insiders have often described an emotionally cold and distant environment. Royals are brought up with a strong sense of duty. Personal feelings are expected to be secondary to the needs of the crown. This can create an emotionally detached family atmosphere, where even close relationships are marred by the demands of protocol and tradition. Princess Diana often spoke of how difficult it was to find genuine warmth within the family. Even with her own children, she fought against the palace's traditions to ensure they experienced a more normal, loving upbringing. Prince Harry's also been vocal about the challenges of growing up in such an environment, describing it as being trapped in an institution that prioritized appearances over personal happiness. The stiff upper lip mentality, while seen as part of British resilience, often translates to emotional neglect within the family, leading to strained relationships and unresolved tensions that have played out in the public eye, particularly in recent years. Number 7. Prince Andrew's controversies. Prince Andrew has become one of the most controversial figures in modern royal history. His connections to Jeffrey Epstein, a convicted sex offender, have cast a long shadow over the royal family. Despite his repeated denials, there's a mountain of evidence that points to questionable behavior, including testimonies from individuals directly accusing him of misconduct. The royal family's response has been largely seen as an attempt to protect him, rather than ensure justice. The way Andrew was allowed to step back from public duties gracefully, without any formal accountability, angered the public and exposed the double standards at play. While other members of society would face the full force of the law under similar accusations, Prince Andrew seemed to be shielded by his status. This situation highlights the privileges afforded to the royals, even in the face of serious allegations, and raises important questions about accountability and whether the monarchy is truly above the law. Number 8. Mental health stigma. Mental health has long been a taboo topic within the royal family, despite their recent attempts to promote mental well-being through public campaigns. Historically, the palace has shown a reluctance to acknowledge mental health struggles among its members, preferring instead to keep such issues behind closed doors. Princess Diana's battle with bulimia and depression was largely ignored by the institution, which expected her to maintain her composure and fulfill her duties regardless of her suffering. More recently, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle have spoken about the lack of support they received when struggling with their own mental health, describing an institution that prioritizes image over genuine care. The stigma around mental health reflects an outdated mindset that still pervades the upper echelons of the monarchy, one where showing vulnerability is seen as a weakness that could tarnish the family's reputation. This reluctance to offer support not only affects individual members, but also perpetuates a harmful narrative that mental health should be hidden rather than openly addressed. Number 9. Class privilege and favoritism. The royal families always embodied the very essence of class privilege, with an unspoken but clear divide between the aristocracy and commoners. This isn't just about wealth. It's about who gets to belong and who doesn't. Marrying into the families historically required more than just love. It required the right background, the right connections, and the right pedigree. Even today, there are expectations that royals should marry those within their social class, or at least someone who understands and accepts the rigid demands of royal life. This favoritism is evident in how different members are treated. Those who play by the rules and fit the mold are rewarded, while those who deviate are often ostracized. Meghan Markle's experience highlighted this divide starkly. As an outsider, American, biracial, and a former actress, her introduction into the royal family was fraught with tension, and her treatment revealed the challenges faced by those who don't fit. It shows that despite the modern facade, the monarchy remains deeply entrenched in outdated classism. Number 10. Strict control over image. Maintaining a polished public image is paramount for the royal family, and they go to great lengths to control every aspect of how they're perceived. This control extends to the type of media access granted, the questions allowed in interviews, and even the way individual members of the family are portrayed. Documentaries that present an unfiltered view of royal life are often blocked or edited to remove anything deemed too revealing or controversial. For instance, the infamous 1969 documentary Royal Family, which offered a rare look behind the palace walls, was swiftly pulled from public viewing after it was deemed too intrusive. This obsession with control shows that much of what the public sees is a curated version of reality, one that highlights the charity work, public service, and family unity, while hiding more complex and less favorable truths. The lengths they go to maintain this image reveal a family deeply concerned with optics, often at the expense of authenticity and transparency. Number 11. Secrets of royal upbringing. Royal children may grow up in palaces, surrounded by luxury, but their upbringing is far from idyllic. There are strict rules, rigid schedules, and a focus on preparing them for the roles they're expected to fulfill, often at the cost of their emotional needs. Nannies and governesses play a more significant role in their lives than their own parents, who are often preoccupied with official duties. This has created generations of royals who are well-versed in protocol, but often emotionally stunted, struggling to express themselves openly. Princess Diana famously tried to break this cycle by being more hands-on with William and Harry, ensuring they had experiences outside of the royal bubble. Yet even her efforts were met with resistance from the institution, which preferred the traditional detached approach. This kind of upbringing highlights the sacrifices royal children make, not in terms of material comfort, but in terms of the simple joys of a normal childhood, replaced instead by the weight of expectations and duty. Number 12. Questionable alliances. Over the years, members of the royal family have formed alliances with powerful but controversial figures. These alliances aren't just limited to celebrities or business leaders. They often extend to global political figures, whose values clash with those professed by the monarchy. For instance, King Charles' relationships with leaders in the Middle East, some of whom have questionable human rights records, have raised eyebrows. These connections are often driven by the need to maintain influence or secure funding for royal initiatives, but they also reveal a willingness to overlook certain moral or ethical concerns for the sake of strategic gain. The monarchy's diplomatic role requires them to interact with leaders worldwide, but the closeness of some of these relationships raises questions about where the line is drawn between diplomacy and endorsement. These alliances paint a picture of a family that, while appearing principled on the surface, is not above associating with those who might help them achieve their goals, regardless of the controversy involved. Number 13. Ruthless reputation management. The royal family's approach to reputation management can be ruthless, as they do whatever it takes to protect the institution. When a member steps out of line, the response is swift, whether it's distancing themselves from the individual, as seen with Prince Andrew, or orchestrating media campaigns to shift the narrative. Princess Diana was famously portrayed as unstable after her separation from King Charles, a portrayal many believe was orchestrated to protect the future king's reputation. Meghan Markle's also faced intense scrutiny, much of which seemed disproportionate and deliberately aimed at discrediting her. The use of non-disclosure agreements, the threat of legal action, and the manipulation of public opinion are all tools employed to keep the monarchy's image intact. This relentless focus on preserving their image at all costs suggests that, to the royal family, the institution is far more important than any individual member's well-being, and maintaining public favor is the ultimate goal. Number 14. Hidden wealth. The true extent of the royal family's wealth is a well-kept secret, shrouded in layers of private estates, trusts, and investments that span across the globe. While the sovereign grant funded by British taxpayers is made public, it's just a fraction of the family's actual wealth. Properties like Balmoral Castle and Sandringham Estate are privately owned, and their value is never fully disclosed. Additionally, the Duchies of Lancaster and Cornwall generate substantial income, yet the specifics of how these funds are managed remain vague. The secrecy around their finances raises questions about accountability and transparency, especially when public money's involved. There's a sense that the monarchy is not just about tradition and public service, but also about protecting and growing a vast fortune, quietly and out of the public eye. This hidden wealth underscores the disparity between the monarchy and the public, with the royals enjoying immense privilege while the full details of their financial dealings remain carefully guarded. Number 15. Obsession with tradition. The royal family's adherence to tradition is both their greatest strength and their most significant weakness. On one hand, these traditions connect them to centuries of history, giving them a sense of continuity that resonates with the public. On the other hand, this obsession with upholding outdated customs often prevents them from evolving with the times. From rigid dress codes to rules about how they interact with the public, many of these traditions seem irrelevant in the modern world. This adherence to the old ways also impacted how the family deals with internal issues, whether it's relationships, mental health, or even public criticism. The refusal to adapt has led to repeated conflicts, especially with younger members who see the value in modernizing the monarchy. This struggle between tradition and progress is at the heart of much of the tension within the royal family, and it leaves them in constant battle to stay relevant while clinging to a way of life that feels increasingly out of step with the world around them. Number 16. Secretive health issues. Health issues within the royal family are often shrouded in secrecy, with the palace releasing information only when absolutely necessary. This culture of secrecies led to much speculation and rumor, especially around the health of older members of the family. For instance, Prince Philip's multiple hospitalizations in his later years were often downplayed, with only the most basic details shared with the public. The Queen's health is also closely guarded, and updates were typically vague, leaving the public in the dark. This secrecy extends to mental health as well. Issues are either ignored or heavily controlled in terms of what's shared. Princess Margaret's declining health in her later years was similarly kept from public knowledge until it could no longer be hidden. The emphasis on maintaining a strong, unflappable image means that vulnerability, physical or mental, is kept behind closed doors, feeding a culture of speculation and contributing to the perception of the monarchy as a distant, almost untouchable institution. Number 17. Power struggles within the family. The royal family, despite its image of unity, has experienced numerous internal power struggles. These struggles often revolve around succession, influence, and the public image of key figures. For instance, there has long been talk of tension between King Charles and his sons, particularly concerning how the future of the monarchy should be shaped. Prince William and Prince Harry's differing views on their roles, as well as Harry's departure from royal duties, have also highlighted the fractures within the family. The younger generation has shown a willingness to challenge traditional norms, much to the discomfort of the older royals, who are more intent on maintaining the status quo. These internal battles are not just about personalities. They're about the future direction of the monarchy and whether it can survive in an increasingly modern world. The tension is palpable, and every public misstep or revealing interview adds fuel to the fire, showing that the royal facade of unity is often just that, a facade. Number 18. Press leaks for strategic gains. The royal family has a long history of utilizing press leaks as a strategic tool. It's a delicate game of manipulation, where private information is selectively released to paint certain members in a favorable light or distract the public from unfavorable stories. Princess Diana herself was a victim of this tactic, with personal stories and even her relationships being leaked to the press to control the narrative during her turbulent marriage to Charles. In more recent times, it's been speculated that leaks about Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's private struggles were deliberate attempts to shift the spotlight away from other controversies, like those involving Prince Andrew. This practice reveals a darker, calculating side of the royal family, one that isn't afraid to throw its own members under the bus if it means preserving the institution's image. The palace's relationship with the press is not simply about maintaining visibility, but about exercising control, often at a personal cost to individual family members. It's fascinating and perhaps a bit chilling to think about what might still be kept behind closed palace doors. But now I want to hear from you. Which of these secrets do you think is the most shocking? And do you believe there's even more hidden that we don't know about yet? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and of course, don't forget to subscribe so you never miss out on more videos like this. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.